in 1987. So here's what happened next.
Cue Jim.
Okay, so I want you to look at the picture carefully on the right. The eyesore, ugly buildings, abandoned vehicles, large concrete boulders that we called Stonehenge.
Forgot about that.
Vehicles even parked in the trailhead right away.
Deliberately.
So it was definitely not an attractive area for bike rider users. A lot was there. I just want you to take note of that. So, to the rescue, the Thomas J. Evans Foundation came along, and in 2015, they bought the eyesore business. It was about 4 acres. And they turned it around and leased it to the village. And it's now officially called the Johnstown Trailhead Park. So,
It's working.
You've got it.
Okay.
so the improvements began. There's demolition of the dilapidated buildings, removal of the concrete boulders, and we started to put some landscaping and tree plantings in there. So that's been an ongoing process. Okay, I didn't put enough pictures up there because I couldn't find the boulders, which I would love to find sometime.
I've got some.
Okay, good. I figured somebody'd have some. And then so the next one, we became a part of the Route 50 national network of bicycle routes. But we were called Route 50A because we're an alternate route. This happened in 2016, and they routed it through Johnstown. And those signs are throughout the village. The one on the left that you see is actually on the trailhead. But Route 50A comes up Edwards Road, goes on North and South Main Street, down to Douglas, turns left there to the trailhead, and across the county. Parking lots. We got to put a 20 space parking lot in 2014, paved and funded by the Babcock Foundation.
40,000.
Okay, thank you for that number.
Yeah.
And I do want you to add things because I know there's things I've missed. But anyway, in 2020, we put in a gravel parking lot that will hold 42 vehicles, and we're hoping this year that gets paved. So altogether, we'll have 62 parking lots or parking spaces, which I think is kind of cool.
Hey, Jim, so back in the day, when I did that parking lot, you made me provide stormwater detention. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys do for your lot?
We're gonna funnel it there through the pavement.
It was
Or
sheet
sheet
off
flow.
to that catch
At least
basin.
try.
Okay, so did you provide calcs on that?
No.
I know where he's going with this, and the answer is no. I leveled it, put stone down.
It was done with that in mind.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine. I want you to interrupt if you have comments. So now we're going to start at park amenities that have been happening. So the restroom was added in 2019, and we shared the cost with the Licking Park District, which was very helpful. And the village staff maintains the facility, and it is handicap accessible. Some other park amenities, this was a biggie. We got a shelter house in 2020 that was funded by the Licking County Energy Co-op, which I'm not sure I have the right name.
And a bathroom foundation.
Okay, we'll be sure to get that
Yeah,
in
we
there.
need to get that.
Okay. And then picnic tables were added by the village.
It's coming.
And angels persist.
Is our sidewalk there yet?
No, sir, it is not.
Yeah.
And with that being said, multiple calls to Holbrook Concrete, who has always been very responsive to us. He keeps saying, I'll get to it. I want to match it up with another job in town because it's such a small amount of concrete, but it's more than we just want to hand mix. I'm going to give him one more call, and I think I'll do that today. You either need to get it done or we need to find somebody else to do it. I understand his view. He wants, if he has a couple sidewalks or something around, he'd like to link it all together, but we waited too long. So
People are complaining.
I hate it, but I'm going to have to kind of give him the ultimatum.
So another item is that there's a organization, a nonprofit, Angels Persist, and they funded a handicap picnic table. And that's why we finally decided we needed to put access from the bike path because a woman in a wheelchair could not get over there. So we're trying to cover that. And then some more park amenities, the bike tower pump and the bicycle rack. They're all down there. 2020s when we put those in, I believe. Some more park amenities, the information kiosk. This was constructed by an Eagle Scout project. And I do want to tell, I was going to tell Richard this, but I think it's maybe we have to go back to the Eagle Scouts. I sat on that bench and it wobbles. It's not secure and it could be unsafe. So I'm not sure how something could maybe be done to fix it.
The whole thing.
Scouts screwed up a little
Scouts
bit.
won't do it, get up there and take a peek at it.
Well, if maybe like more cement or something on the posts.
Did the post get camped in when you put them in? You know, that I don't know. But if the
Yeah.
whole,
Does the whole thing wobble?
if the whole.
Or just the?
I just was able to move the bench back and forth.
And it's gotta be the whole structure of it.
Well, there's no 45s on that
Yeah.
though, going down to the post. And
Yeah.
maybe if you put a couple 45s
Oh,
on, you can
underneath
stabilize
the
it.
seat.
Underneath the seat.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who will take care of that. You mentioned something. Maybe we'll let you-
Johnstown Street Department probably.
Oh.
I knew where he was going.
Maybe you didn't hear that.
He's just advising you what to do.
I-
Okay. Anyway, at some point, I mean, it's not drastic, but I just sat there and I thought, oh, I'm moving on this.
It's a rocking kiosk.
Yeah.
Carol, they're good. Another Eagle Scout is doing another project right now. He's building a bench and putting bat houses up on the Mastodon Trail. That's Alex Rush,
Okay.
Mike Rush's son.
Okay, I didn't have names, so I just put a private Eagle Scouts. And then one other item we just got as an amenity is the pedestrian counter.
Sorry.
I wasn't sure what it looked like, but I walked down through there and I saw these little holes in the wood and I'm thinking, I think
It's the
they're
slide.
spying on people and counting. So we hope to use that information for when we do funding requests and say, hey, we've got X amount of people.
Do we know how well that's working? That was a little more complicated to put in than you might think.
It's working.
It's working. Okay, that was my next concern.
Yeah.
Because the crew we had working on it,
We did a good job.
yeah, I was, because they were having some trouble with it, but
Well, they did a fantastic
it's
job.
working.
And you
Fantastic. I will
can, on
let
this,
them know.
the picture at the very bottom, you can see tiny holes, two tiny holes. Who gets that? Who gets those?
I do.
Okay, so I figured
I have
mainly,
I have to physically go over there and download it onto a Google Chromebook. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
okay.
I gave her.
Did you sit-
Oh, I know.
Did
That's
you
fine.
take a view of the Herb Rocky and the kiosk while
I didn't
being
do that.
spied by the counter there?
They're not together. They're pretty far apart. This is
Yeah, but-
actually down past Douglas Street.
Oh, it's
Yeah, a little
okay.
farther than I,
It's
Thought it was gonna
down
be, yeah.
past the first pedestrian entrance from Concord Crossing so that we could get all of the pedestrians that come in from that neighborhood.
Yeah, I thought that was a good idea.
And the saw cut you see counts the bicycles, correct?
Yeah, so we can tell the direction that people are going. I can tell who's going in and who's coming in and who's going out. And I can tell the way that they're traveling. So if they're a pedestrian, I can tell that, or if they're a cyclist, I can tell that.
Oh, good.
And this,
One saw cutter too.
oh, it's like diamond pattern.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a diamond, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the way ours.
And this connects to the system that LCATS has, correct?
Yeah, so it's the same system that they have, meaning that the data is all the same, but like they can't access.
Gotcha.
this.
So this would record, you would get like a motorized bicycle.
It doesn't tell me if this like what the bicycle is motorized or not. It doesn't tell me like if somebody is riding by in a wheelchair. I would assume it would count them as a cyclist, but it
Oh.
doesn't tell me, you know, what type of wheels it is.
We'll get that when we upgrade to our next counter. So then we move on to the Mastodon Preserve. So in 2016, that land where the Mastodon was found was donated by 31 Gifts, which is no longer a company with us, but they did give us the land where the 1926 Mastodon was actually discovered. And a limestone trail was created and took over 2 years to get accomplished. And then a sign was put up, and this is called officially the Mastodon Preserve Discovery Trail. There are QR reader stations that are there if you want to learn more about mastodons and this project. Then the future. So there's been discussion about extending the bike path to the west. And I just showed 3 pictures there of what you're seeing now, like the silos are very prominent. And then looking down Track Street, it's pretty primitive. It's pretty not very attractive down through there. And then I just showed, you know, the grain elevators on the left, and then where Fetter's had their stores on the right, and the Fetter's store is on the left. So that's Track Street. That's where we'd have to try to extend. I think the path is actually on the right side
It'd be
of the
behind the mill.
silos.
It'd be behind the mill
But then you'd probably have
It
to
would curve
wing
over.
around and come out.
Yeah.
to where the railroad station's at.
Run down Track
Mm.
Street.
And then
now
another-
to line it up with the part by Cellar lumber, once you got it.
Yes,
there.
yes. And then we also are working on a dog park for the future. It's really coming together. This mock-up map, I just put it up there because I showed there's a small dog area and a large dog area. And I think Richard and Bailey will have some information to tell us maybe about this happening this year, possibly still. Okay. And then then we have our partners. So I'm not sure if I've counted everybody. I didn't put Angels Persist, but I did put most of the groups that have helped us over the years. So if I leave anybody out, just, you know.
I would like to add TLV.
TLV, that's just what I was gonna say. And
Because they donated a lot of time. They removed that big concrete base and Angels Persist. And this wasn't the first time TLV, if you recall the park in Rolling Meadows, they went in on that knob, leveled it all off and no charge for the village. So they've been a good partner as well.
Well, that'll really help because then I can move 31 over.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Carol, we need to have
Well-
a church too, that tore their buildings down for me.
Okay, so I need their names too.
Yeah.
I knew there were other
Yeah.
entities and I just didn't. So TLV stands for,
TLV.
Tad Van Ness.
I'm just gonna put TLV.
Yeah, that's their
TLV.
branding, TLV excavating.
I'd like to start investigating getting a big boulder like we have at Rolling Meadows with a plaque in it that says our partners. If that's
For the
okay with-
trailhead?
Yeah, if that's okay with the Park Committee.
Yeah.
Plaque will be.
And it's held the test of time up at the other park. You know, I was worried about, will people mess with it? It's sit there and it's done a nice
Is it
job.
a primitive stone or is it
No,
a,
it's like a big boulder.
It's a boulder.
And then the gold
We shaved
plaque
it.
is. Put it right.
Yeah,
into the
they came in
boulder.
right over here, shaved the edge of it flat and then put the plaque on.
And laid it in.
do we
It
do
looks
this
nice.
from the guy next
Adamson.
door?
Adam.
Okay, Adam.
It was about
So,
$900, I think, for the plaque and the shaving.
But we had the boulder and I don't think we have a boulder to put at the.
Yeah,
So we
pretty
have to
nice
get one.
building.
I might know where there is one.
Okay,
I'll have to check and see. if
Okay,
it's still
check and
available.
Where did the
Get
other
one for
one
me.
out the other-
if we could actually leave extra room at the bottom as we potentially get more organizations to help us, I think we should try to do that.
We could have a rededication ceremony
okay.
at the trailhead and name all these people. So that's one plaque. And then if there's more people in 10 years, 7 years, we can have another dedication ceremony.
Do we
Becoming
With
want
another-
Stonehenge all over
to
again.
do the dog park at the same time or just do a separate thing for the dogs?
Well, if we ever become a city, I know Marvin wanted a big deal down there, like food trucks and stuff, to have a little
Yeah.
celebration. so you could just wrap it all together.
But I agree with Bailey, the natural stones, with the bronze plaque affixed to it, it's really a nice look.
We can
Okay.
put it like right into the, as you're walking into the
Shelter house.
shelter house, sort of like in between the shelter house and the trail. So as you're walking down the trail, you see it, and as you're walking into the shelter house.
That'd be good.
If you want to see an example, well, you already have an example of that. Morris Woods has one, we have one right in front of them now, that really has the one at infirmary now is probably 15 years old. Morris Woods is probably older than that.
Oh, yeah.
So there's one more last slide. And the quote is, "I'm looking forward to the future and feeling grateful for the past." And this is by Mike Rao. And I don't know if anybody knows Mike Rao.
Dirty job.
Dirty Jobs. I mean, I just, he's not the most scholarly person, but I liked that. And I guess I should say we're looking forward, but I took his quote. And that picture is actually looking west towards an extension. You can see the dog park where it's going to be
Right,
over on the
see
top
the
left
tree.
there.
Water towers in the back.
The mastodons on the right. So anyway, thank you for tolerating my little thing
That's
here.
great.
Good.
I
I
really
thought
like that.
we needed something that we could say, hey, look what we've done. Because I think we forget,
I think
especially that picture with the eyesore.
I think I talked to you about that during COVID. Then we talked about it and I said, we need a history, some type of history put together. You did good, Carol.
Oh,
Very good.
thank you.
And once,
Our partners, it's really important that we get everybody's name.
Yeah.
Oh, I
associated,
know.
Because, like I said, many of them are repeat, but it's like TLB, that's the second park. And he said to me, he says, well, as you guys continue on this park project in Johnstown, because he's worked in Johnstown for I think 30 years, different projects. He said, let me know. I have equipment. I don't mind coming down and helping.
That's great.
So,
And the church group and that tore down the buildings is the same ones that come to cleanup day at the park there. And
I'll check with you about names and then
Yeah.
should we put a Dozer Dan down too?
Well,
He did the
he
whole
got paid.
limestone thing.
he was paid. We had,
Oh, he
remember, we
was
only
paid.
had $10,000 to
Okay.
do that. And no,
Well,
he wouldn't expect that either.
Okay.
So.
When you do that list, can you just send it to me, and then I'll mock up a thing for.
Yeah.
stuff.
I'll change the PowerPoint so that I have that in case we have to keep this as a record for,
well,
where
I do
we've
think
come.
when we have the dedication, it'd be nice if
Oh, yeah. We'll
This-
put this.
this could be seen
Mhm.
and all those people were invited.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's just a little, hey, we appreciate you.
Well, and we're not all going to be here. Some of us later, sooner than later. But anyway,
Are we going
People-
somewhere?
is that,
no.
she
but,
look at me,
you know,
so that's good.
She's
I
looking
could
at
be
this end.
probably the
Yeah,
oldest
she's
one
looking
here.
down this-
And I'm just saying, I think it's important to have that history so that people do know what has gone on.
Once you get this updated,
Yeah.
I can turn it into a video and put it online.
I
That'd be
think
great.
Yeah, that's
That'd
a
be
good
great.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to have.
Okay, so now I'm gonna let you go to the tree commission number 4, Bailey.
The tree commission met with an arborist who took a look at the big oak tree on the hill where we're going to put the dog park. And he's recommended that we trim it and possibly put some cables in it to kind of hold up some of the bigger branches. So this year, probably in October, just because there's some oak wilt going around, so we want to take care of our oak tree. So we're gonna schedule with him to get that tree trimmed up and safe so that we can enjoy it and the dogs can enjoy it. And he also took a look at some of the trees up and down North and South Main Street, which we are also going to schedule him to come in for and trim those up. And then the tree commission has been talking about scheduling an Arbor Day event for this year, hopefully doing something with the elementary school kids, and then planting a tree here in front of the village offices. So I'm working on scheduling that and getting the details set for that.
While we're talking about trees, I had a fellow council member mention that there's a really kind of dangerous tree.
That was me, so I'll tell the story.
Across, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's South Main Street. It's across from K-Seps. And I mean, it
Yes.
sticks out and it is so high and it started going over like this.
Do you know
I'm,
the address? We might have
No.
identified it.
It's close to 137 South Main because they get my mail when I used to live on
Yeah.
South, or North Main.
I mean, it looks like it should almost be taken down. I mean, if it falls, it's dangerous. It's like the largest tree in that area.
Is it
Is it
on the
healthy?
street or is it
I
in
can't
your
tell.
yard?
But it's in the tree lawn. It
So
looks-
we might have
pretty long, I think.
identified that one.
Okay.
And it might be included in.
The list.
I don't know if
But
it's
let me
healthy or
check
not,
with
but it looks.
Marvin.
Well, the thing is, a roadway
Mhm.
is where the light is. That's why trees grow this way.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of it has to do with
The light.
where it's growing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going towards the light.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
mine has been identified for extensive
It
trimming.
may have. Let
yeah,
me
so
take a look
that's what
at
I'm
it.
saying is that if it's
Yeah.
healthy, you know, if you're concerned about the branches, it's better to trim it, let it keep
Doesn't
on
look like
going.
you're
Because I
gonna-
want to tell you, those big old trees
Mhm.
provide a lot of shade and keeps the city cool.
Cool.
Okay.
And,
Oh, they do a job. for
oh
us.
man,
They
you gotta
really do.
believe it. And, you know, they keep the shade on the blacktop, and the blacktop's not radiating heat. I mean, and it makes a big difference. And the value of trees like that is significant.
As long as the roots go down instead of out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's where we get
Well,
into
yeah, we're-
sidewalk issues. Good.
You have a list.
Yes, I have a list.
We have, it'll go to the finance committee next
Next,
Tuesday.
yes.
And it's a council's will that we're council, the village will put the bill for trimming all the trees on Main, North and South Main Street. So,
And I'm gonna try and get him on the schedule. We can't have him come out and do the oak tree until October, but I'm gonna try and
And
get
the
him on the schedule earlier than
Right.
that to do the Main Street trees.
Right.
And this is kind of a one and done. And I mean, as far as the trimming goes.
No, this is one of them. This
Yeah.
is, we're doing them all. They'll all be done and
But
It
we'd
is the
also-
owner's
The owner's.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'd also like to put the arborist name on our village website, just so that it's sort of like the village recommended arborist.
Arborist.
So if people have questions later on or want a recommended one, they can get his contact info
I
right
think
there.
that's
And then I
good.
think I also heard you said like every 5 years, we need to have him come out and look at them again.
Evaluate them.
Evaluate.
He said he'd come out every year and do an inspection on the big oak tree. And that wouldn't take that long, 15 minutes, just to look at it, make sure it's safe and healthy.
Are we, you know, since he's acting on behalf of the village, should we,
officially name him. the
right,
arborist.
similar to the engineer or the law director, the contract
We could do
position?
that.
Get his approval that he would,
It-
okay,
it would
that
be either the
he's our
official
official
arborist.
person.
And if we need a retainer or
Whatever.
some sort of one-page contract, if we don't, that's fine too. But if we're gonna anoint him the village arborist, we should probably make it official.
I think that's what Granville has. They have an assigned person and they have an agreement with that person. They don't compensate him unless it involves.
Unless they need it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll ask him,
Yeah.
you know, would you like us to have a retainer or just pay you when we need you to come out for a job? So I have a voicemail in with him.
And then ask him if he wants to be named as the official arborist.
Okay. I have a voicemail in with him, so when I talk to him, I'll.
And, you know, if he maybe even provide a little bio of his, you know,
Okay.
stuff, degrees or whatever. Sometimes that helps, you
Oh,
know.
that's a good idea.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to Bailey again. So we're doing the active transportation plan, the ATP, and that's the document that I'm going to see if you make me a hard copy. I have it on my laptop, but I just decided if I could bring it to these meetings, because I said at the last meeting, and some of you weren't here, I want to be the official committee that keeps looking at that thing and not just shoving it to the side and never doing anything. So Bailey's going to give us some ideas about what we pursue first.
Yeah, so Carrie McKee from the Licking County Health Department is in charge of creating healthy communities. And she has funding every year to sort of help communities do trails, do active transportation, and lower food insecurity. So creating healthy communities goal is to lower rates of diabetes and chronic health issues by creating projects that encourage active transportation like walking and biking, and that also encourage healthy nutrition and healthy eating. So they have $5,000 available this year that they'd like to sort of grant the village of Johnstown to do some projects on the active transportation plan. And you guys can talk about it, but I would propose purchasing the bike racks and installing them and maybe doing some signage. That there's 7 bike racks proposed on the active transportation plan. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much those bike racks cost, but with $5,000, I think that we could probably purchase them. I would need to talk to some of the private businesses because I see there's one in proposed for in front of Kroger. There's one proposed for in front of CVS. There's one proposed for JYAA Park. So that's something that I'll have to look at. But I wanted to sort of get your opinions on that, or if you want to do something else, that's fine too.
Who bought the bike rack at the trailhead?
We actually had that installed at
Hannah's Park, I
At
think.
Hannah's Park, and it was taken out and
Sat
stored behind
behind
one
the
of our
building, yeah.
buildings. And so we had it and we decided to put it at the trailhead.
I think one of the ones that we need to put on our priority list is one to be in the Bigelow
I agree.
park space, to sort of service the whole downtown.
Okay.
I see bikes parked in front of Dashing Diner. That's basically on
Every
Saturday.
Saturday.
Every Saturday there'll be,
There's a whole-
it could be 3 to 12.
And there's a whole crowd that rides over from Westerville and they have lunch at the, they used to.
Yeah.
At the family restaurant, they all were there and the bikes were everywhere. So that's something we got.
I found a document online that I want to maybe send to you. It was about bicycles and putting them in a rack, and you need to get the right kind because there's some that you have to somehow get the tire out or I don't know. It made sense when I read it. And I think we should try to make sure we get something that bikers would really like to use.
Right.
So I need to find that and send that to you.
When we all went to lunch in Granville, and we saw the
The pump,
pumps and the
The tools.
tools and they also had bikes racks that matched the tool sets.
That's what we did
So-
last weekend. We rode from Johnstown to
So it's
Granville,
like-
put our bikes in the rack. and
Well,
had lunch.
we drove, but that's,
We talked
but-
previously about doing a fix-it rack in the downtown area as well, and we decided not to, I
Yes.
think, just to see how the one at the trailhead.
See how it
performed.
yeah.
But we can also use part of the $5,000 to purchase that, so if we
Okay.
want
Wow.
to do that.
That's nice.
but I'd like to do if we decide on a rack, then we sort of keep them uniform and make them easier to.
Have we thought about placement at
standard.
all in there
Standard.
with the different events and stuff that go?
We have to,
I was thinking about right here where this
Well-
bench is.
that's the problem with that is that's where the new electric connection was put in the ground, right behind that bench for the Santa house.
Oh.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
then,
because any place else we're kind of off, because we have the gazebo on down a little bit.
What if you do there by,
Yeah,
right in
Yeah.
that space
Yeah, where the
might work.
slants at, yeah. Right off the walk,
keeping it close to the wall.
yeah.
Yeah,
Terrace is where we got our bike fix-it station.
so anyhow, that,
Mhm.
And when you talk about a lot of bikes, how many are we talking about we need?
4 or 5.
Oh, is that all?
At a
Okay,
time.
okay, I didn't know if we were talking 15 or
No,
20.
no.
Because we could go in that area and then in front of the cars that are parked on the slant.
Okay.
Not where the
Oh,
stone
right,
is, but,
yeah.
but on the other side, Jim.
Oh, in the street.
Well, not on this side, the other side of the slant, on the park side of the slant.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, right in there.
Right in there.
Yeah, I think that's
In
a-
that little
That way,
strange
and then we
shape.
could start down the
area.
front of where the cars are at.
That's an ideal spot right there. I would think just off of the pavement, just off the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's
And,
it.
and it's good access, right, it's right
And it
across the
wouldn't
street without,
Crosswalk.
without jaywalking.
Right.
Because
it
I
doesn't
thought we
interfere
could,
with-
you know, see
yeah.
how that curve goes, you could set the first one at an angle
Yeah,
and then go down in front of the cars.
that's a great
I
idea.
make the guys trimming the park happy, but you know, sometimes.
Yeah, but maybe for a little bit more, well, a lot more, you concrete around it. That way it doesn't get muddy and they don't trim it.
Just pour a slab from the walk to the curb.
Square,
Yeah,
square this
that.
off.
Yeah. Mhm.
I was
don't know.
thinking about the
Or pavers.
Riverstone, but maybe that wouldn't be too safe. I don't know.
I'd rather concrete.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Once you do it once, you're done with it.
Or
So,
maybe we just put the rack in now and figure out, we pour around it later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How would we feel about donating a bike rack to Belt Field? That's identified here
Yeah.
as needing a bike rack.
We can do that.
Um,
it's
JYAA.
probably,
Even though they're not in the village technically yet,
yeah.
hopefully at some point they will do that. And,
I would ask them to put it in first. I mean, they got a lot of money from
us,
I mean,
us.
we did ask them to do it.
Be like, hey, we're buying these racks. Would you buy your own and
Right.
match ours? And
since we gave you
I
money.
mean, they just dropped X amount of dollars on pavement down there. They got money, more money than you think.
Okay.
Well, and if we buy that floodplain ground behind the sewer plant at $8,000 an acre.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up today too.
Okay.
We got an offer letter from them to buy the Dick Hill property for 56,000.
Should they pay
Seriously?
what, $1?
They got it for
Right.
$1.
Oh,
We
geez.
need to make sure we remember.
Okay, here's the deal. We're gonna give you a bike rack if you give us this land.
that. And the bike rack is worth more than what you paid for the.
And we can obviously, Monica was talking to me. She's like, where do I start? And I said, I don't know. You start wherever you want.
Well,
So
be reasonable.
Be reasonable.
Yeah,
You know, you
that's
paid-
not
got it
reasonable.
for $1. And
That's-
you're gonna charge us 56. I don't think so.
That was the same deal we had with the Plaza Properties, remember?
Well, the other situation is mow it and take care of it. If we
Well,
don't
yeah.
buy it, you need to mow it and take care of it.
Right.
I didn't want to get sidetracked.
Okay.
Well, I did want to say one thing about bikes. Number 8 of our goals is market community assets. And that's also a common goal with the finance committee. And when Bailey was talking to me about this $5,000 and stuff, she said something about bicycle-friendly businesses. And to me, that would be part of our marketing. We are a friendly town for bicycles. The racks would show that, the tools, the whatever. So I do
And
think that could be one of our marketing tools.
bicycles will play a large role in our mobility hub.
Well, and Route 50, the bicycle route. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could be brought into that. And then maybe, we'll get Pelotonia back coming through here again. Maybe we don't want that, but
Maybe, yeah,
they did come through one year.
yeah.
Okay, so now Bailey's gonna tell us about the TAP grant. And her thoughts about it. We've talked, but I'll let her explain.
Wait.
Yeah, before we leave,
Yeah, I had more.
before
I'm
you
sorry.
leave the active transportation plan, one of the items on there was crosswalks. And highlighting where additional crosswalks need to be put in. And we need to get that list up and so that Jack can plan for because it should be
Budget.
put in with not painted and they should be thermoplast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crosswalks, I talked to Corey, that artist who did the Don Jake Way, and I floated the idea of doing artistic crosswalks, to capture people's attention more, that tactical urbanism type thing, and she's all about it.
Great.
And we don't, so when we're painting crosswalks, maybe we thermoplast plastic the
with
edges, but
sides,
then,
and she does the,
I mean, she said, piano keys or something like that, or mastodon prints, or,
What
something to
about
drop.
upkeep and maintenance on that?
Yeah.
How fast does it wear down? How much repaint? How often?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to need maintenance, and probably is going to be dependent on the amount of traffic that's generated. If you drop one in Rolling Meadows, it's going to last longer than one on
Right,
62.
yeah.
right,
And we can say no to that idea.
or one on
Shoot.
Jersey going over to Bellevue, so.
Right,
I think it would look fantastic, but we don't want to stress, that's probably a yearly touch-up deal.
probably.
By the time you run plows across it, the winter hits,
Yeah. So,
you're talking about an annual touch-up on those. Or if we don't do it annually, it'll begin to look awful bad and
Sure.
splotchy.
So maybe she would be our
Village artist.
village artist.
But when we think about these things, there's always the nasty part, which is the money.
Yeah.
This will have to be a budgeted touch-up thing every year.
Anyhow,
It's all part of our marketing. which-
I'm not against it. I'm just saying, we don't want to let them go 2 or 3 years and just looking bad.
No. So what else?
I just wanted to be clear that with the $5,000, we're gonna do the downtown bike rack and fix it station and the bike friendly business stickers. Is that what- Yes.
Oh, see, I don't think this group heard the
no,
bicycle
we didn't
friendly.
hear this.
Oh,
Stickers,
okay,
stickers.
so bike friendly business means that you'll let cyclists come in, refill their water bottles, use the restroom.
oh,
And there are stickers that you can put on your business window that just identifies you as bike friendly business.
Okay.
With the idea that later on, if we were to do a marketing thing, we could either do a map or identify our bike friendly businesses so that cyclists, when they ride through town, know who they are.
Okay.
that, a lot of that goes on a hotspot. Bikers go to the
Yep,
hotspot
they do.
and go to the restroom and, have a drink or whatever.
And
I
that's,
bet they
that's
do.
another place where there's no place to put your bicycle.
Like, they lean them up against the
Yeah.
walkway.
And I bet if we had a sidewalk all the way out to Troyers, they'd probably go there too
Someday.
someday. Okay, well, and that was Carrie's suggestion that the $5,000 you might want to, or she mentioned the bike friendly. I never thought about that or heard about that before, so I like that idea. So yes, so I'm
They're
gonna,
gonna do 5,000 back to us. What's our, you happen to know what our fee we pay the health department?
No, but I can get it real quick
That's all
later.
right. It doesn't matter. Just, we're getting money back from money we give. them,
They
so.
will pay for this project.
Okay.
So they're not just gonna like give us $5,000.
Okay, it's gonna be
We have
whatever
to
the
send them
cost.
the invoice and then
Sure.
they'll.
And they'll pay it.
Oh.
Okay.
so I'm gonna make a motion that this committee is saying they recommend
Use of
Yes.
money,
this contract or this whatever with the
health department
health
grant
department.
funds.
I'm not quite sure how to word it, but you can tell her how to word it. If and so I'm making the motion
I'll second it.
and we're all in
Yes.
favor.
We're just not sure what we're in favor of.
We're in favor, we're in favor.
We're in
of
favor of spending their money.
Crosswalk
for bike racks, fix it station, and bike friendly business
Right.
stickers.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Up to.
no painting at the moment.
Up to
No
5,000.
painting at the moment.
No.
Okay,
Okay, got it.
Not yet.
But just keep in mind that this appears to be a yearly fund, and so now that we've established the relationship, we might need
That we-
to.
We'll be looking for this in the future.
and didn't you say she's gonna try and come to our next meeting?
Yeah, she's gonna
19,000.
try and come to the August
19,000,
Is what we pay the health
but
department.
we pay, will it go up as a city?
I don't think so, but we will be on the board.
Good.
We'll have represented on the board.
So we have access up to that amount we paid them back.
No,
No.
for them to cover us as a
To
health
handle-
department, to handle,
The village pays the health department a fee every year, and it's $19,000. I didn't know what it was.
to be part of the health department.
So we're getting.
Be covered by the health.
Not related to this grant.
No.
Not related to
Just in
this
your
money
mind.
they're gonna give us back.
Okay, because we're getting
Because
something
they
back
get-
for what we.
They get money
Okay.
from each of the cities and villages,
Gotcha.
plus the county commissioners. give
I just
them.
wasn't sure the mechanism, how it was working, if they were related. They're not related. This is a grant separate, but we can apply for the grant because we're.
In my mind,
we're a
they're
member.
related.
I got you.
Well, and they provide vaccination shots for kids, I think, still at the churches. And they,
Wick, yeah.
Wick.
they do the
Inspections.
change gears program. It's in the,
COVID, they did
yeah,
major work.
so we want to support them.
Okay.
That's good.
Or we create our own health district.
And our,
That ain't happening.
no, and
That'll
they were
cost you a
very,
little more
very
money.
active in our mental health project.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Oh, good point.
So let's move on now to the TAP grant. And Bailey's gonna float an idea.
We talked about applying for the TAP grant, and now I'm worried that we won't have enough time to get things ready for a letter of interest in October.
I agree, but
But
please tell them your
we
idea.
can apply for a TAP grant to start the trail extension, since we have this mobility project identified. I don't know what that would involve. It would of course involve acquiring property, and then, which we can apply for a TAP grant for, acquiring property.
You can,
No,
Cannot, I don't think. Maybe.
but I'd have to look, I guess. And then you can apply for a TAP grant for construction. So that's something that we could apply for a TAP grant for, but it's a big project, and I don't know if we can get it ready in time for October.
And I understand that. I think we all understand
And
that.
then
Or we can apply for.
how does that fit in with the timing on the mobility project? So,
Now, Raccoon Creek, that's
Lots of
just
moving parts.
what we call phase one, coming out of Pulte up to
Up to
Wicks.
62,
Well,
yeah.
62 and then connects to Wicks. Because that's all pretty much already put together.
And if we, well, we made an updated cost estimate, because this funding will be for fiscal year 2025.
Could you just add an accelerator to whatever numbers you had?
We'd have our engineers do it, probably. But that's the thing too, CT did our last one, and I wonder if Prime would want to redo everything. Or should we go back to CT?
Prime would probably look at the estimate that CT put together last time
So we can apply for that again too.
and put the accelerator to it. Don't you think that they do that? I'm not sure council wants us to go back to CT
I don't want to go back to CT.
today.
Um,
So if you show them what their estimate was, and that stuff like that happens all the time. You take an older project that didn't get done, put it to a different engineer, and they'll develop around that.
so,
And that, excuse me again, but that could probably be paid for out of general engineering. We'd have to check with Dan to see where we stand on that account, but I don't think we beat that up too often.
I haven't.
I haven't either. So I think there's money in there to do that if you decide you want to go that route.
so if possible, we could just resubmit what we did. And that takes the pressure off of trying to get something else started by October to submit. But to keep in mind, can you do 2 projects if you, at a time?
You kind of beat yourself up.
Yeah.
so.
yeah, but you're competing with
okay.
yourself.
Well,
We
that's
found that
true.
You'll get the one you don't want.
That's true, yes. Okay, so let's just keep that in the back of our mind that we would like to, if we strike out again for the 3rd time, we need to move on to something else.
But I do believe that's a great project because that connects a very walkable community of Pulte up to 62, which is Wicks, McDonald's.
Kyberon too.
And
Do I
And
have-
Redwood,
Yes,
Railway
that connects
Kyberon.
that all together.
So I should move forward with that. Raccoon Creek.
well,
I think next year, probably, once the mobility hub's announced, I think that would lend more credence to our application for the trail extension. That this is a much bigger, this is much bigger than just an extension.
J. Evans Trail.
We have
Right.
a litigation issue that's going to have to be resolved before we can extend the trail.
We can take it by eminent domain and still,
Yeah, it's a day-by-day thing here right now, so.
well, and I think maybe in the meantime, this whole thing about Track Street
don't worry about
and
it later.
extending the bike path, when downtown Johnstown first got started, there was things out there through Ohio for grants to acquire land for parks and trailheads and so forth. I haven't looked at any of those things. I don't even know if they're still out there. Do you have any contacts that would maybe give us that kind of advice that we could apply for in the future for that
If you
extension?
look on the dispatch website, under Delaware County, they got a whole boatload of money through the state for park recreation facilities and all kind of stuff.
For
Southeast
Millions
Ohio,
and millions. of
Southeast Ohio
dollars.
got 2 million for the Bailey's path system
Yeah,
and through
so,
the state capital budget.
yeah, it was the state.
So obviously we're 2 years out from that.
Again,
Oh, yeah.
So we'd have to work with Fraser. Well, Hottinger's going away, but
yeah, so, but we don't know where it's going.
Carol, you're saying it's 10 till, so if you want to get to
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Richard.
So we're gonna move to Richard.
I thought we were just gonna stall him out.
No, he's gotta leave. He's
Yeah, he's
gonna leave.
gone.
And we need his important information, so we're gonna move down to number 9.
Okay.
Thanks, Greg.
Oh, I will let Bailey give the update on the dog park. The update that I wanted to give you is on the Concord Road parking lot. And finally got a quote, and I'm not sure, Chip, if it was you or somebody else sent me.
It was me.
And so I got a quote to do the survey, and I've got to meet one more time with TJ Evans Foundation to confirm that. I know what I have to do with the village to get across the right of way to make access for a curb cut. And so it's just taking more time than we ever.
Oh, no, we
understand.
so, you know.
I think it's gonna happen,
Okay.
and I think it'll happen by the end of the year. I've got quotes to build it, but I gotta get the survey, then it has to get recorded, then we have to get the agreement with, which I have an agreement in thoughts with Wilcox and with the TJ Evans, but I gotta do it one more time with both of those. First, TJ Evans.
How many parking spaces?
12, I think it's 12.
12.
Yeah.
Better than what we got now.
Yes, and it gets off the road.
And in an
Pull in
orderly,
and back out.
Richard?
fashion.
yeah, will that take out the gravel that is there now? Will it?
No, it's not gonna touch that, but that gravel.
It's on the
should
other
be
side.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We gotta get that on the books to get that seated
It
and,
should be taken out and seeded, but I'd leave it there for the time.
oh, sure, absolutely.
It's not on the side of the road though.
You might have to put some.
Yeah.
It's probably in your right of way. though.
Yeah, but
Well-
we put it back when we paved Concord Road.
Oh.
We re-gravelled that.
We probably had to put some.
Should we have?
balusters.
Nah, but we did.
All right. Oh, no, just as it moves along.
We
And
just
who
scrape
knows,
it off.
Maybe the
We'll get something
trustees
worked
would
out.
do it. You know, okay, I heard you, Jim.
The old street guy would've. The old street guy would've. The new street guy doesn't really help.
All right.
And I think Bailey can cover the rest of it. The only thing that I want to tell you is 2 weeks ago, I was out on the TJ Evans Path Panhandle going east of Newark. And I've got my pole saw and I'm out cutting things off there on 911 issues. And bicyclists came up with saddlebags. And I stopped and chatted with him and hoping to get votes and all that stuff. And I said, hey, how did I? He said, man, this is a really smooth pass. I said, well, we just did the crack fill and seal the week before. I said, where are you headed? He said, Seattle. And I said, wow. He said, I said, where do you stay when you do that? I said, well, I used to have my tent in the saddlebags, but I'm going to B&Bs, and he was going to end up in Columbus that day.
Wow.
And I said, well, where'd you come from? He said, Providence.
Wow.
He was younger than me, but not by much. And I'm going, wow. Providence to Seattle. And he was following US 50.
Yeah.
Richard, about 3
That's
years
cool.
ago, a couple stopped in the hotspot and they were riding across America. And they came through the Evans and came to Johnstown, I don't know where it was, direction they were going from there, but that was their goal. And they told how many miles they were riding a day.
They have the app and they know where.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. Yeah.
That is.
Providence. It's like,
Wow.
you
That's
came
Go
through
your
the
boat too.
you came through the mountains. I mean,
Yeah. that's
Van
a
Licking
toughie.
County,
You
wow.
can get there.
Anyhow, that was just a.
Yeah,
pretty exciting-
Yeah.
and that makes me, I think we need testimonials about the trailhead and bike path and stuff. If we could ever get somebody to, you know, scribble something down and put their name and, because that's a great story. So,
It was so busy this past weekend. It was just like this all day on the
I wonder how
Saturday.
many people were out there.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder how we could tell.
It'd be super cool to eventually have a kiosk where people can put that in, like where they're from or where they.
Yeah, that's
I know what I mean,
kinda
like a
cool.
guest book, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be kind of neat.
So that's all I have, Kurt.
Okay. Okay, so the dog park, you're gonna update us on that.
Yeah, the dog park is scheduled, so we have Tony Baldwin on the schedule for August 16th to start. He said he'd probably need, a week or two. Our service crew is gonna go out the week before and dig a trench so that we can bury the wire.
Now,
So August 16th is a Monday.
has he got the corner stake?
He doesn't have a corner staked yet, but he is going to go out there. I think the weekend of August 7th, he's gonna go out there before your guys need to go out and dig a trench.
Okay,
And he's gonna stake it and he's gonna, I think, paint the lines on where the trench
and
is.
that's what I want. 12 inches wide is all he needs. It wasn't very deep, so that's all good. But
And I'll
yes, I need to
probably
make them
call
aware.
him the week of the 2nd, just to make sure that he has up on his schedule.
That's great.
Super.
It's
So
exciting.
that should be in by.
Let's make
Great.
sure
And the
when
fence-
he's marking those corners,
The fence will be the same or similar to the one that's at
It'll be the exact same.
Bound
At
Burberry.
Mound.
let's make sure when he's marking those corners that he has Mike Guttridge's phone number, so Mike can go out as he lays it out, and say, okay, I see what you want, I know what you need, and
Right.
go from there. And I will get with Mike, tell him where we're gonna dispose of the dirt at, and I'll get that squared away. But I do want to either call myself or Mike, so we can be with him when he's laying it out.
I agree.
Sounds great. Could be part of our, whatever down there, we have some kind of little celebration.
So does that have to sit, do we open it the day after it's installed or?
We need concrete laid, so Tony Baldwin's working with. Actually,
Holbrook.
he was gonna work with Holbrook.
Yeah, because I told him to make that part of the package, because he's gonna set the fence, get the concrete in. I don't want to call Holbrook in after the fact to try to dig out.
Yeah, the only thing that I think we might need to wait on is concrete, so I don't know when they're gonna lay that and like how many days between Tony's finishing date, but I'll get all that.
We just need to be prepared to tell people yes or no, or, when
It's not open yet.
Right.
They've done projects
do you-
together
We
too.
may put some signs up, so park not open at this
Yeah.
time,
Like
or
still
or coming
construction.
soon.
Still under.
Yeah.
So do you
construction.
have a rules signage?
Yes,
Yeah, we do need to order.
The
I need to order
signage,
rules
yeah.
signage.
I'll send you what, do I
I think
have
you
it?
sent
I
me a
think I did.
picture, so
Then you
I'll,
can just use whatever you like off of that, or whatever you don't like.
Yeah.
But before you take things off, you might want to call me.
okay.
Don't take treats in. Why can't you take treats in?
Aw.
Because I give your dog a treat, and your dog a treat, and your dog is mean. And it doesn't want to do that, so you don't
Yeah.
take treats in. you
Just
don't
like
take
kids.
Human food in, yeah.
No
Good
food
point.
and treats.
Darn.
There's a few things in there that, it's like, I even had to question, well, why do you do that? So be careful about taking things out, because there was a reason
I'll
why.
probably just use
all of that.
letters.
Use the,
Jack, I know that you want to get that sidewalk to the shelter house done as quickly as possible, but if Holbrook's gonna be out there,
See, that, I don't know if he's talked with Baldwin and he's kind of waiting to do all that concrete work at one time. No, the main push for us is because we've had a couple handicapped people say, we want to use that, but I can't get in.
Thanks, Rick.
I understand.
So it's,
It's-
See, Rich,
I mean, it
No,
doesn't
no,
keep
I
our
understand. his biggest problem is I don't have a full load, so
I know.
I'm gonna have to pay for a full load because of the minimum order, and
Hmm.
I'm hoping to have another little job someplace I could use concrete both places.
repair a sidewalk or something.
Well, that pretty much-
Done at my house.
Well, now we got
Work together.
that thing in Bigelow Park, you could do that at the same time.
Well, that was
Part of
his,
it.
that was his, Bigelow Park, yeah. I was thinking about Hannes Park, but yeah, Bigelow Park.
Bigelow, that strange shaped
For the
thing where the
bicycle
bike
rack.
rack's going.
Oh, I didn't know we approved that.
we don't.
We haven't.
We haven't.
We
They
haven't.
have to.
I'm
approve
just
it.
trying to,
We can tie that in, absolutely.
Tie that in.
Which would give him a, you know, if that,
and he can do it.
that probably has to get through finance committee and.
That's quick. You got two.
Just tell us how much money it is, so, once you know.
Well, and you'd have to,
It won't be that much.
that little notch in,
In the
Hannah's-
park where
in
the
Bigelow Park where we
where
were gonna
the-
put the
bike path,
bike racks.
1,500.
So we'd have to coordinate though with,
Because those need to be set
Right.
in before the concrete,
Right.
unless we're gonna drill the concrete. We don't
No.
wanna do that.
Yeah.
so there's coordination. There's 3 little jobs that
So how
I'll be,
fast you gonna get all this stuff
coordinating.
ordered?
Today.
But no, here's what I can do, is get a hold of Holbrook and get a cost estimate
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
before I leave.
Oh,
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
oh, that's right, you're going.
That little piece
Yeah.
would be about 1,500.
So we don't need the shelter house, we just heard about that.
Yeah.
And then the parking lot paving, that's gonna happen when?
Well, what we've got going on is the law construction is starting next week on South Oregon. And he gave me a couple quotes on both this parking lot and the water plant. He said, if I could do that when I come in and pave South Oregon, I think there was a $1,500 deduction on one and $1,000 on the other. The water plant funding is taken care of. Did we narrow down where the, what was it, 43,000 for this trailhead parking was coming from
More
financially?
than that, I thought, but
Well, 43, 48, whatever, because we had the sewer plant, water plant, and then this.
so originally came in at 6,000, I thought we were gonna get 2,000 off.
I thought we
okay, then.
were not doing the sewer plant because of construction.
You are correct. I nixed the sewer plant. See,
Okay.
that's separate funding, so that was,
Yeah.
Right.
water plant funding's already taken care of, it's been appropriated, it's in place.
Right.
We, however, did not decide where the,
Which bucket?
let's just call it $50,000, because I
Okay,
don't have it
yeah.
in memory, where that was coming from. But they did say, if we did it at the same time, we did.
I thought we,
I
I thought we determined the bucket.
I feel like.
We'll have to ask Dana.
Well,
I would have it in my.
I didn't know that.
they're gonna give us
I
some
can check.
small discount. So if you're telling me it's approved, because I thought Jim looked at me the same way I looked at him, did that
I'll let-
officially?
I forget more
approve?
things than I remember.
But that's okay.
I remember what
That
I'm
will
pretty sure
happen
we-
then when we do.
We talked about it,
the South
I'm pretty sure
Oregon. I
we
know we talked.
approved it, and it was to get the best deal we could
Right.
from the pavers that are coming.
And I can remember numbers, but not people's names, so.
So in any event, if it is all approved, and
You did.
I'm hearing it's
Well, we'll
approved,
do it Tuesday, next week.
Yeah.
that
Well,
when we
Teresa
pay
can,
Jersey, or
Okay.
excuse me, Oregon Street,
Right.
we're also gonna do the water plant and the trailhead. So
So
that'll happen in 2 months.
we'll need to probably make sure that, I don't know, do you guys like rope things off the night before so people don't park at?
Yeah.
contractor will do it.
And go down the trail and then.
Yeah. So we're talking September then, towards the end of September, that'll be paid then. if
And
we're good.
then do you want to paint arrows on it so that people going one way and we?
I think we'll handle that with thermoplasting ourselves. I did not price them to put striping or anything down. I think we'll go ahead and put the striping in and then we'll put an arrow down because we've got that set up that you drive in where the gravel is, you'll go around and
Yeah.
come out where the existing pavement is.
Yeah,
It'll be
we'll
a
have to-
one-way.
Take a parking spot away probably. on the
Well,
side.
if you look at that, we extended the gravel beyond,
Oh, okay,
so we're gonna actually add that.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
throat shape.
okay.
So
So yes, I think, because with this new thermoplast stuff that we got that we can order and heat ourselves, we'll just put all of our own striping down at that time.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so, Craig, what do you have from downtown Johnstown?
Terms of park stuff, probably not much. Community lighting we got going on, we did that Spring Fest. We turned out pretty successful. We did very
That
well.
was,
It was fun.
that was good.
It was
Actually, now that
good.
we have sponsors this year, we actually made $200.
All right.
Instead of being $800 in the hole like we were last time. Summerfest is coming on August 19th. We got on that yesterday and it's all come out.
Have you guys turned in the event packet?
Yeah, I just did. I think you signed for the liquor.
Oh,
August
perfect.
19th.
Thank you.
That's,
August 19th.
it was the
is a
20.
Thursday.
21st, I'm sorry.
21st.
September 19th is the car show. So we talked about both those, but there's that. And then also I've been asked to be on the lobby committee for the Licking Parks.
Nice.
So we're starting.
Good.
So we,
That's great.
you know, so we had a kickoff meeting 2 weeks ago, and we'll be meeting again this Monday. Trying to figure out how and who we should be talking to. Jim, there may be something that I'm gonna want as like kind of a testimonial kind of thing, or a letter of support of some sort.
Sure.
That I'll talk to you at some point. I gotta get a little bit further into it, but.
So the millage is going on the ballot for the park district.
Mhm.
Just a replacement?
No, it's not. It's a new one.
It's a new
Yeah,
one, okay.
because.
No, it is, it is a replacement, not a renewal.
It's a
It's
replacement.
a
You're right.
It's a complete new one.
Right.
Get rid of the old, okay.
And it,
Let the old one expire.
yeah, and we're not gonna go out and advertise, but it ends up being the total cost is $13 per year per $100,000 evaluation.
I think Richard said that
Butters.
last meeting.
Did he say that? Okay,
I think
yeah.
that's what he said.
And
So,
I guess the park district could ask, the council could do a resolution in
Mhm.
support of the
Right.
park district.
yeah, we've got to come up with the target groups of who we need to
But
talk to.
I think we would have support on the council.
Yeah.
I would
support
Yeah,
that.
since we have a trailhead, you would think that we support it.
Urge people to vote for it.
At our council meeting the other night, Ben was talking about, I don't know if he's still on there. He was talking about the events committee, and I said something, Sharon's sitting beside me, I said, you should ask him if they would help your downtown Johnstown, with projects. So Sharon mentioned it, I'm not really sure,
To
but Ben Lee
Mhm.
is kind of in charge of the events committee, and I'm just thinking, that's an event, and you could probably use all the help you could get.
Mhm.
I think with the events committee for village, like village events. I mean, I don't I don't know, they started with the fireworks, so I guess
Yeah.
we'll talk to them.
Mhm.
I'd leave them with the
No.
fireworks. And
Yeah, I thought it was just for fireworks,
Yeah.
basically. That's what For the
I'm
rumblings.
just saying, I know downtown Johnstown never has enough manpower, people power. And that's why I said, well, maybe they want to try and hook up with them.
I guess talk to them.
Well, Spring Fest was way better than I imagined.
It was.
They
Well,
were-
I
Okay.
just pulled it off somehow.
I'm telling you.
It was
very
fast.
nice.
Fun.
Very
Yeah,
good. It was a
Having,
good, great
having-
day too.
Having the
Great day.
continuous music makes a real big difference, I think.
Yeah, I think the Johnstown Got Talent thing that we tried to do,
Yeah.
Johnstown doesn't have any.
And the
talent.
barber-
We're not doing that. We're not doing that again.
And the barbershop quartet was good.
No,
but
you couldn't
you couldn't
hear
hear
'em.
them. You just couldn't
Was
hear 'em.
Linda there?
Linda opened it.
Yeah, she opened
She's
it.
saying, I missed the very beginning.
Which was fine.
If nothing else, Greg, we're gonna go down to other business. And I do want to mention, this artist that Jim has contacted Jim. We also thought of an idea with the silos down at the trailhead. And so Marvin, the very next day, called Brent Fetters and talked to Brent about painting, which I've always had this dream of painting those silos. Because there's so many of them. And so Brent said, well, he's thinking about it. And so I was supposed to let you know, Jim, so your contact with this artist, which I'm thinking maybe we need to get her information because you're going to be gone. And we might want to, Marvin thought maybe there could be a meeting with this person and Brent. And
Okay.
probably Marvin, to see if she'd have any interest in doing something like that. So you can give me that information if you want, and I'll give it to Marvin. If, what is her last name? Or it's okay if you don't know.
I'll figure it out. Her phone number is 740-817-4232.
I know her first name's Corey.
Yeah, Corrie. She messaged me through Facebook, so 1 second.
And then the other thing, and this is a biggie, we have got, this group is taking on.
No Bellucci,
What?
sorry, No Bellucci,
Oh,
N-O,
she's local.
yeah, she graduated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
her
she's-
brother just became a physician.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She graduated from CCAD.
I know who she is.
They lived over around Casson.
They have 2 houses on Pratt Street.
She lives
Pratt,
at
yeah.
Pratt and
56, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she told me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What did
Yeah,
you say,
they-
56, right?
Yeah,
Their
He's Pratt.
family has taken care of people that were, for years. I think some of the people they take care of, they've had for 20 years in the one house,
Mhm.
and 24/7, they take care of them. They're
Like elder care,
No,
No, it's
no,
beyond
like,
handicapped.
handicapped children usually.
challenged kids, yeah.
They've been made awarded the state, I think is what it
Yeah.
is.
That's the picture that she mocked up for Jim, and that was gonna be possibly at a drive-through liquor place.
Yep.
But that's a no.
it doesn't look like it's a go, correct?
So I don't wanna, take her out of the mix, even if we can't do this. And I do not wanna do what one of those condo people said about BT insurance. No,
no.
that does not
And
sound.
the
good.
walls aren't good with the windows.
No, no.
I don't think
uh-uh.
Robert would be, he wants to paint the building. His plan is to match the Ghost Rider. That's his plan.
Okay.
And he told me that this spring.
One thing I did commit to Corey is we would buy the paint
Right,
and
right.
the
And
potential
scaffolding,
scaffolding.
maybe. Mhm, renting
But
scaffolding.
she said paint was gonna be $400-$300. She tints it all herself, so it's not like she's buying all these different colors. And then she would donate her time to doing it.
That's great.
And somebody mentioned,
The ideal wall is a wall for Amazing Meats. It's just a long concrete block wall. You'd be coming in on 62 to Johnstown. It would be on your right. It just looks like it needs a mural. And at one time, Sean told me he wanted to do one on it. I don't know, who did you talk to, Jim? Did you talk to Sean or Tommy?
Corey's coordinating that.
Okay. But I would be willing to ask Sean if he would consider it, if you want me to.
I know she was talking to him about it.
Okay, about the Amazing Meats or just?
Correct.
Okay.
and then
We'll add it to
somebody
the
mentioned, I think it was
Sean.
Marvin, that we should possibly try to buy the paint from Ace Hardware.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay, they might give us a discount too.
He was gonna ask for a donation from him first, but then we'll pay.
I
Well,
know.
that's what he did say. Thank you. He
When I
did
toured
say
that
that. Hey, you
building
want to
down over
donate
there,
for this project? Yes.
When we toured the little house that was
Yeah.
connected, and we were standing there, and Sean actually brought it up. He said, boy, that'd be a good place for a mural. Maybe it's too hidden. I
It's
don't
too
know.
hidden.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
trees
behind
that are
the trees.
back in
That picture
there.
It is.
The wall of the new fire station. There you go, perfect.
Yeah,
That's
what you
won't
can see.
that won't fly.
No,
She's,
It's too hidden.
Well, I just thought while she's
You're coming in.
interested, it
How
would be
about
nice
on
to check on those
Go on
silos.
the side.
Side of Angels
Don't
persist.
or the front right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think?
Oh, that's a good
Flying?
possibility, yeah.
It was 5 or 10
I
years
gotta
old.
check back in with her, but
Okay.
Yeah,
Probably not.
but you might tell her something
Yeah,
about the
that tree and
silos.
everything
Town.
blocks it, doesn't it?
You would.
Yeah.
you wouldn't
Okay,
miss it.
so,
And besides, they have a
I've had
stop
couple
sign
things
there
on
that
Other
if the traffic's backed up, you can't go beyond that.
okay,
That's true.
So you
Uh,
that picture.
The Hannah's Park sign,
Okay.
yeah.
it fell over.
Sure did.
What's going on with that? And do we have a plan to put it back?
I thought
up?
Mike put it back up already.
He told me that he put it back up. I have not drove down to
Well,
check it.
I was down there, while the carnival was.
Oh, yeah, he told
While
me
the
he got it
Fireman's
fixed well
Festival
before
was
that.
on, and it was just sort of laying on the ground.
I know he had to go buy brick and mortar and stuff, which he did, because I signed the.
Okay, well,
Bill for
I'll
it.
go back and look, but.
No, this was well, he told me well before the Fireman's Festival that it was done. So it
Okay.
must not be done.
Well, I know he bought the brick and mortar.
I'll go over
stuff
and
'cause I
look,
signed
but
the bill.
anyhow, so that's one thing on Hannah's Park.
okay.
The other thing, I was contacted by Mr. Zarelli, the band director for the Big Red Band. And he was trying to see if there was any property in Johnstown that could be used as an amphitheater for band concerts. And I said, well, I think I know a place. And so I took him over to Hannah's Park. And it turns out that the sledding hill there is perfect for
Oh, wow.
putting blankets on and sitting on the grass and watching something that's going down below. And there's a large area in the front of that where you could have people sitting in folding chairs.
It's where the
Yeah,
carnies.
that's cool.
That'd be cool.
Well, but the carny, I went down to check. They did not use any of that down there. They stayed up where the gravel was put in.
Yeah,
Oh,
So
none
it
of the
would not,
trailers
would
and
not
stuff?
interfere at all.
Okay.
And there's already power down there, and that's a good thing. And then what we'd have to do is, and we'll work with them and come up with a platform that would hold the band. He said that he could, without working at it, come up with 6 concerts a year, including the band and all their various component parts. And that, he said that doesn't even count the choir, so we could have them go perform down there too and do a whole series. So I said that.
that would be really great.
And there's parking,
Yeah.
and we'd have to get the Legion to move their dumpster.
It's our dumpster.
It's we pay for the dumpster,
It's in the contract with the,
Yeah, we
That's-
could try.
then we can get it moved.
Does the event policy apply only to Bigelow Park?
no.
No,
So that could be something I had Park as well.
Let's think for a
so
minute.
we could have,
The size of that band, parking.
I know.
I
yeah.
know, well, you got the Legion parking, you got the school,
Adams and
Adams and Oregon,
Yeah.
all of that.
That's
And
a
I
big
noticed,
band.
I noticed that now
Yeah.
for baseball tournaments, they're allowing parking on the grass over there, which I didn't think they were gonna allow. Evans,
gosh.
you know, so anyhow, I think we could
Send
work
the zoning.
that.
Right, and I'm okay, I'm just thinking that.
And if we
you-
do
if you got
the-
2 parents and then.
And if we do the
Big.
sidewalk archway that we're
Yeah,
talking about.
I was
Walk
thinking this
over
all
from Main
needs to be
Street, yeah.
coordinated and put down on a map so we
Yeah, well,
can see
I
where.
asked Chief to take his drone and fly it
Oh, good.
and take photographs.
That,
And that's first step 1 is to photograph the area so we know what we're talking about.
I think
And
that,
then we'll, you know,
Could
we'll
we,
formally come and,
and then that's maybe by
Coming on,
then,
idea.
when he wants to do this, the Babcock Foundation's ready to fund things again, because that would be right up their alley.
could we legitimately be talking about 100 cars?
well, the band right now, I think is
Oh,
about
it's
120.
200 and, no, there's 200 and,
He's back up to
he's
200.
over 200.
So what I'm saying,
I didn't know that.
legitimately, you could be
Good-
talking
good
about
for
100
him.
cars, we gotta sit down in that area, which.
But
is
you
wonderful.
got all of that,
The old tennis court.
you got, well, we got that, but you got the upper and the lower parking lots at the Legion, and that's probably 100 spaces.
No,
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 go all the way around the building,
no.
50?
50,
Half.
75.
And then the lower lot,
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
okay. So anyhow, just to be determined, but
Okay.
Well-
No, I think it's a great idea, just,
It-
where am I gonna put the cars?
Well,
Is
but
this a public thing, like,
It
open
could
to the
be-
public, like,
Like a picnic with the pops. is
Yeah,
what I-
yeah.
like
it'll be
that?
something like
Okay.
that. I don't,
That would be
we did not get into,
Food trucks.
are we charging, are we bringing in other,
No.
any and other things? That's yet to be determined. It was just, can we find a place to do this? And that's where we were.
I think
It's a good
really-
idea.
Well,
The band kids, if they could be bussed in.
yeah,
Because you don't want 100 cars just
Yeah.
for band kids, because you're gonna have all the parents and the people that don't wanna come.
and then
So-
they'd have to make sure it wasn't interacting with any of the sports events that take place at the old school.
Right.
sites.
It would not be on the same.
Because those are
schedule.
packed out like.
It's,
one thing I noticed though during the parades and other things with the band is a lot of those kids walk.
Yeah.
You see them. So, if we get that sidewalk in that you're going to talk about and, it might not be as big of impact. Plus, if you realize you can't park down
Right,
there,
if there's, you
you're
have to
gonna
walk
walk.
in,
that's.
And you have to remember, a lot of them don't drive. I mean, they're not old enough.
And that's what we want. We want
Yeah.
people to walk.
But we
and
want
bike.
their parents to come to the
Yeah.
event, so.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's just,
It's a good idea.
it's just a preliminary idea. We didn't do much other than, he liked the space, he thought it would work.
Or one little restroom might be a little inadequate.
Well, we may have
Oh,
to,
yeah.
we may have to
They
add
took
some
that.
porta johns.
Yeah, which we could do, if, as long as we know a
It's
couple
just-
weeks in
just a
advance.
better
we can get
use of
stuff
that
brought
space.
in.
Sharon talked
Sharon,
about-
40 potty patrol.
We always talked about putting in a dry restroom.
Right.
So anyhow, this was the first stop of. a
Well,
long-
it's
a
certainly
long way.
something to keep investigating.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
not gonna happen
very
overnight, but it
interesting.
could be whatever.
Maybe by next spring.
So,
People really enjoyed the band at the gazebo.
oh,
Right.
sure, that's always fun. And the cake auction too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
good.
So-
Yeah.
okay, so now we're gonna talk about organizing the Johnstown Joint Recreation District.
Mhm.
And I told Jim that maybe this group could take that over since we're the ones who've been promoting a joint rec district forever. They aren't organized, of course. They probably don't even know each other, these 4 people. So the 4 people, we have, yeah. The 4 people, Jeff
Jeff.
Barr and Susan Suriano, I think is how they say their name, are from the village. And then the school board did,
Keith Ryan and Baldwin.
is it Ed?
Yeah.
Ed Baldwin.
Okay.
Keith Ryan.
Then they're gonna come together and pick their
Group has to
5th
pick
person.
the fifth.
When I was doing some research about how to do this, I see that some rec boards have 7 people. And at some point, I'm not sure, they might really need 7 people with all the different things that they could, but that could be their
Let them
decision.
decide that.
So I was thinking of possibly trying to have some kind of a session over there in the council chambers, ask the board members to come, have our committee come on council and, welcome them and give them some guidance about how to get started.
And give them the background on what exactly they signed up for.
Their purpose.
And to say, yes, of how they would go about doing this. And I found a number of sites that I'm keeping on my laptop. Canal Winchester had all of their bylaws and all that stuff online. So they're gonna need that. A mission statement, one of the groups has. I think that Keith Ryan could really tap into Fredericktown, which is where he's from. They have been in operation like since 1980.
Well,
And New Albany. So that I assume they'd have to have officers.
mhm,
Yeah, we have the bylaws drafted. So
Oh, we do.
We do.
mhm.
So I was thinking they could get a packet that night of here's all the
Their
stuff.
email addresses,
Email
and-
address.
Do you want me to have them set up?
please.
I have a note.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm not sure it's a good idea to ask the board to come and ask the council and this group, but we do need to have some kind of formal meeting. I also thought about having the 4 of them come to our meeting in August and say, this is the kickoff, we're gonna give you packets of, and then you guys,
Go to
get
work.
organized. So I thought about that too. That might be a simpler thing.
Might be simpler to use this committee as opposed to the entire council and board,
Yeah,
leave them out of it and.
And we got to make sure they're available during the day to come though.
well, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
If we,
and
Is the village going to provide a place for them to meet to get started?
Yes.
Okay.
and then financially, well, they might need something to get started.
Then they can come ask.
Okay.
Yeah, if they,
I did see the one, Rich, what's the name of the little town on the other side of Columbus?
Richwood.
Richwood. They have a really organized group that could be used as some ideas for how to get this off and going. So
Well,
I'm
and
just
the
not
guy from-
reinventing the wheel. I'm
The
trying
guy
to
from New
find.
Albany offered to come, so we should take him up on his offer.
We could, I'm thinking, they got so much money from so many different groups, and that's not gonna happen here.
You
He did come and speak to us a long time ago.
Yeah, he did.
I think at the
I'm
bottom
not
line,
opposed to somebody
bottom line
coming,
being, you don't get money unless you ask for money.
right. I'm not opposed to him coming. I like the idea of these smaller groups that have been around for a while. Centerburg's another example. If there was somebody that, we could tap into there, or just give them lists of names that they might contact, because eventually they're gonna have to put this all together. It's gonna be their baby.
Well, yeah, the first thing they have to do is get number 5,
Right.
their 5th person. So,
Are any of the 4 relate or in the Northridge School District?
no, Northridge is not part of
It's
the
not part
district.
of
No, I
this.
just wondered it for.
They
They're
can't.
gonna be sad they didn't get involved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a missed opportunity for them.
Sure.
So what do you think? How should we do this?
I think the idea of having a meeting with them, bringing them all together and let Jim or someone explain the history of how the idea came about and about the attempts to bring the other school district in, and this is where we're at now. And,
Leave that out.
We're not
Leave
going
that
there
out.
yet.
No.
okay.
I
So-
mean, we worked really hard for that all
Well,
to
my
happen.
only thought process there was because of the Miles' opportunity.
leave
You know
that
what?
out.
We don't even care about that anymore.
Okay.
No.
We've given up
That's-
on the Miles?
No,
No.
we are,
What, wouldn't that?
I'm not
stand
supposed
with-
to know, but the council is pursuing litigation regarding the miles.
Okay,
And Jim, the thing about the Northridge
I
group,
don't know.
we tried really hard.
oh, sure.
So this
Yeah, I
group
was
of
there too.
4, advice,
Yeah,
I guess it's gonna be, if they want to pursue that, that's their thing. But I think we're done. We tried.
okay.
So I think you just bring them in, whether that's during a committee, probably a committee meeting.
Here's
Make
what I
it-
was gonna ask. I was gonna ask Teresa, to contact the 4, because Jim's got all their information, and say, would you be able to come to the Parks and Rec meeting at 10 o'clock on Thursday, or on Thursday in August? And see if we've got them all on board, because we need them all here at the same time. And if that doesn't happen, then we're gonna have to come up
Find
with another
another
date.
date.
Teresa, also, when you set up their emails, just give them that basic.
Yeah.
Only the email program.
Right.
So I guess we'll start with that. You can let me know if that doesn't, if that's not something they can do. And then I guess we, do a nighttime meeting. And those of you that might want to come to get this off and going.
Would you want to provide them the list of other people that applied
Mhm.
so that they could pick the 5th person?
I
Yeah,
do
that's a
think
good
that's
idea.
important because those are the people who were interested.
Right.
But they need to remember that they have to reside in the school district.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they have their own ideas as well, but we will at least provide them the list. Absolutely.
So probably at some
I would
point,
leave those who are not
Eligible.
eligible off.
I told you I'd take this off your plate, Jim, but I really do think I need you to, where we sit down and come up with an agenda and what we're gonna pass out to them and that type of thing. And-
Most of it's already done.
Okay, good. I mean, they need to see the ORC for what this is supposed to do.
Mhm.
I've noticed sometimes it's just that between the trustees and the village, or the school and the village. I mean, the school and that's what
Trustees.
we're doing. The school and the trustees. It's quite interesting how they all have been able to get together. It's not a set thing as far as has to be a school district, has to be a village.
It
It
could go
doesn't.
either way.
We did that
Yeah.
with the school because when they do want to do a levy, we get to do the whole school district,
Mhm.
which brings in a lot more people and a lot more money. So, any other ideas? Okay. I guess we will wait till you have your refreshing vacation.
Yeah,
And we'll
hopefully.
see what she finds out, and then we'll go from there. If we did have to do it at night, what night would work?
That's what I was, next question.
I know.
Thursdays probably.
I was trying to help you by piggybacking off of another one.
There is one planning commission night that doesn't have a committee. I think it's the second planning commission does not have a committee before it.
Not
That one is that
normally.
tree commission.
No,
Oh,
I said tree commission the fourth Tuesday of the month.
so that
That would
would
be it.
that'd be the second planning, yeah.
Oh,
So it's gonna have to be a Thursday.
yeah.
So I guess if they say no, could you do it Thursday evening?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5:30, somewhere.
The second Tuesday of the month, I don't think, this month it does, it has the joint work session, but
Not
next
zoning?
month, it doesn't have anything. There's nothing regularly scheduled on the second Tuesday of the month.
Before
I thought that
zoning,
was zoning.
So,
before the committee meeting, she means.
Before this.
oh, before that, before the
Yeah.
regular.
Well, that might be your target. date.
But then we're limited on, we got a hard stop at 6:30.
Probably okay.
That might be
I
good.
mean, I
True.
Be good.
Yeah.
think you can do it.
And yeah, that's a good point.
We have an hour
So
and a
you-
half.
So
Right.
possibly
Let's go.
a Tuesday at 5
Mhm.
or Thursday,
5.
If they can, make it to the regular.
Yeah.
yeah, I think if
Try that
if at
first.
all possible, I think it'd be great if we could do this on in August and get them up and going. Any other business? Okay. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Okay. Thank you.
Need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I move.
I do too.
I vote.
We're all in favor.
Thanks, Ben.